It is time to finally talk to you guys all about the books that I read in March. I'm so excited to share them with you because all of these books are 4-star and above for me. And I don't think I've ever had a great reading month like March before. So hopefully some of these books are going to be added to your own TBR. And if you have read these books, let me know in the comment below what your thoughts are. Really quickly, I did read 7 books in March, which is again amazing. I thought I would read between 3 to 5 books every month, but for some reason I just picked up really great books and I want to continue on with that high. So this first book that I read is by an author that I've never read from before, but I have heard great things about her books. She also has a few book series out already, and I decided to start with this one, which is The Striker by Anna Huang. This is a series, I believe 3-book series called God of the Games, I believe, and it's all about 3 football players. And because this one is set in London, it is technically, soccer player, but then they call it football in London or in the UK. This is a romance book between Asher, who is a football player, and Scarlett, who is an ex-ballerina. This book is really good. I love Anna Huang's writing. It is a pretty thick one. I think there's over 500 pages. 577 pages. However, because there are just so many things that are happening, so many events, so many drama, it was not boring for me, which I love. So I cannot wait to read more of her books, especially from this book series. And I have read about the side characters in this book that will be the main characters in book 2 and 3, and I cannot wait to read about them, about their life, about their stories, about their love stories especially. So I cannot wait to read the next few books. This next book is a fantasy book, and I at first did not want to buy this book series. It is another series because people are saying that this book series are YA and too YA. However, I decided to pick it up because I have kind of like the spin-off series of this book series, and a couple people are still saying that I need to read this first book series first before reading that one. So I decided to pick this book up, and it is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is the first book in the Caraval series. I already have the second and the third book, so I feel like it's good to start this book series this month or last month in March. And again, I love this book. I don't think it's too YA for me. I just feel like this book is just jump right into the action. I didn't even realize that the Caraval game has started when I was reading this book. I just love the twists and turns of this book. There's just so many secrets that I feel like I still want to know more about, and especially the ending, the reveal. I was like, did not expect that at all. I also love the romance subplot in this book, and I think there's gonna be a couple more that are blossoming from this first book, and I cannot wait to read the second one. This first book is about the older sister. Her name was Scarlett. I've been doing really good at not reading the synopsis of the second and third book because I've done it before and it spoiled the book that I haven't read. So after I finished this one, I finally read the synopsis about the second book, but I have no idea what the third book is gonna be all about. So hopefully the next couple books of this book series will be a great read for me as well. And again, let me know in the comment below if you have read it. I cannot wait to finish this and then finally go into Once Upon a Broken Heart book series because I heard that that one is also really good. This next book I feel like has a cult following. There's just a couple YouTuber girlies that I follow who really love this book series. And there are a lot of kind of like controversies with the author and just the author's work, but I have bought the book already and I really wanted to read it for myself and figure out why this book series just have a lot of following. And it is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I actually did enjoy this book, probably a lot more than I anticipated. I feel like at times I do feel annoyed about the main characters, about Magnolia Parks and BJ. They basically have been friends since they were little, and they started dating each other I think when they were 14 and 16 or something like that. But basically they broke up, but they still technically are good friends. They hang out a lot with their circle of friends. BJ basically sleep around a lot to make her jealous, and she's been dating a lot of guys to make him jealous. And I feel like all of these things that cause them to hurt each other would easily be resolved if they would just be mature adults, sit down and talk it out with each other. It is annoying to kind of like read about their, you know, like their back and forth, but again, it's also so interesting that I think I will continue on with the series just to read about the drama and the toxicity, I guess, between Magnolia and BJ, and also with the other friends in this circle of friends. The ending of this book again was not something that I expected. I think that is one of the main reasons why I did enjoy this book a lot and that I will continue on with the series. If you love Gossip Girl, which is I feel like what this book has been compared to, I can totally see the comparison. The book also read kind of like an episode of a TV show, and it goes kind of back and forth between the present time when they're like what, 20 something, and it goes back to like when they were children and stuff like that, but it doesn't really say it in the beginning of the chapter. Like it doesn't say then Magnolia or something, but basically when she's talking in present time right now, she kind of talk back and look back at some of the things that happened in the past. So it was kind of confusing at times because you have to like remind yourself that, oh, they're talking about the past now or something like that. And I wish the book starts when they were all meeting up when they were younger, so they all went to the same boarding school, and that is how they get to know each other. There's like, I want to say 6 to maybe 8 people in this circle of friends that know each other from back in the day, and I feel like it would be easier to get into if the book would start then, but I'm pretty sure the author has their own intention on how the book starts and stuff like that, so I cannot wait to continue on with the series. So the next book that I picked up is probably one of the OG popular books, I think on Book Talk maybe, and that book was The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I actually got this really small, what is it called, like mass paperback, I think, for like 25 cents at one of the library bookstore, and I was like, you know what, it's 25 cents. I heard about this book a lot, and there is a movie adaptation on Netflix, and I decided to just get it. I actually never really read a book this size, and I love it. It's so light, and also the font is like decently sized. I actually like it, and it's unfortunate that I think they are basically discontinuing this size of book, at least here in the US, and I don't think there's a lot of like popular books that have this size, I want to say, because I've never really seen it anywhere else. Anyways, again, this book, if you have never heard about, it's a workplace romance, but they were kind of hating each other, and then they became sort of friends, and then of course lovers at the end. And this book was just really great. Like I really love workplace romance as well, and this just basically depicts the way that office politics could be like, and I relate so much with the like workplace little nuance, I guess, throughout this book. I should say that if you haven't watched the movie, I would watch the movie first and then read the book. I know people who are readers, they want to read the books first before watching the adaptation, but I feel like I am the opposite because I don't like the movie adaptation at all. I feel like it's kind of cheesy and a little cringy. And if I were to watch the movie first, I think I would like the movie a little bit more than what I think about the movie now that I read the book first. I don't know if that makes sense. I just feel like there's not really enough of the book in the movie. This book again read really nicely. I did enjoy the book so much. I just love the tension between the two characters and how he was jealous and how she was jealous and stuff like that. I do love the emotional connection between these two characters. At first they hated each other, like they loathed each other, but then I feel like he becomes softer towards her first, and then she also kind of like changed her perception of him, And then that is when the romance finally start between the two of them. It was just really cute book. I think if you haven't read it, it's definitely worth picking up. I know that she has other books that are kind of popular as well. I think it was mentioned in the back. 99% Mine and Second First Impressions. And she is an Australian author, which is again amazing. I don't think I've actually read any. Oh no, I have. Cynthia Timothy. She is a Chinese Indonesian Australian author. I guess she is based in Australia. But again, this book I would highly recommend if you haven't read it. Even though it's been out for a long time, I think it's still relatable, and I enjoyed this book so much. This next book, I actually have purchased the books because I've heard that this book series is great. There are 5 books in the series. It's set in college, which I don't think I read a lot of college-based books other than maybe Icebreaker last year. I don't remember on the top of my head if I read any other books that are set in college. There's probably quite a few. I just couldn't remember it right now. But anyways, I finally read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I know this book has been out for quite a long time, maybe 2015. I want to say like the first book before this cover. Let me see. Usually I would say it in the front. Yeah, 2015, which been 11 years ago. But oh my gosh, this book is so good. Like, I think I read this probably in 2 or 3 days. The main reason why I decided to read it is because the TV show adaptation of Campus, I think that's what it's called, is coming out in May. I think May 13. And the first season is going to be based on this first book about Hannah and Garrett. I did try to film a reading vlog or a reading update video. I don't know if I'm gonna put it up because I am just kind of gathering the footage right now. But I remember saying that this book just brings me back to my college years. I definitely had a different experience of college compared to the characters in this book because I went to community college first for 3 years before I transferred to a 4-year university. So I didn't really have that experience of living in a dorm or rushing for a sorority and all of that, or an experience where I could just walk out and I would be on campus. I have to drive to campus or take the bus. Again, this still brings back really good memories of being a college student, going to classes, going to lecture hall and all of that. It was just a really cute first book. And I also sat in that footage, or like when I was filming the reading update video, that I don't want to read the second book right away because this first book is just so great and like so high up here. I don't want to be disappointed with the second book, so I'll probably read the second book a little later, maybe after the first season of the show comes out on Prime, I believe. But love this book so much. If you haven't read Elle Kennedy's book, I would highly recommend this one. It's cute. I love that, again, the emotional connection between the two characters are just so perfectly written in my opinion. Hannah, she doesn't really trust guys and it's hard for her to trust them again. But I feel like Garrett is meeting her basically at her level and it was just really cute. I cannot wait to watch the show adaptation. Hopefully it's gonna be pretty similar to the book and hopefully it'll be great. I cannot wait until May. So the next book that I read is by Cara Bastone. It is Promise Me Sunshine. I've heard so many great raves and reviews about most of her books, I think. Ready or Not is, I think, the first book that she published. Or maybe not the first book, but the first one before this book. I think this one is published 2025, I want to say. And then Ready or Not was published in 2024. She actually has quite a lot of books and a lot of Audible original novellas. But anyways, I decided to read this book because, I don't know, like the cover is just calling my name. This book mostly talk about grief because the main character, Lenny, just lost her best friend to cancer. She is basically working as a nanny currently because she can't really take any other kind of like job that has a lot more responsibilities. And the love interest, what is his name? Miles, he is basically the uncle of the girl that she is nannying, and something in like their family dynamics make Miles not be super close to this girl and also to her mom, which is his sister. Miles noticed that Lenny is just such a mess and she finally tell him what happened to her best friend, and he was saying that he has experience with grief and he will help her kind of like overcome the loss of her best friend if she helps him get close to his sister and of course his niece. So they kind of strike a deal, and I feel like the way that he is so willing to help a stranger basically is such a green flag in my opinion. I wouldn't say that this book is really sad or really emotional, even though most of the book talk about the grief that she is currently experiencing and the grief that he experienced and why he decided to help her out. The romance, I feel like, is a very small part of this book, but it's still present throughout the book. I don't know how to explain it, but I think you should just read it. If you have been wanting to read Cara Bastone's book, definitely pick this book up. I think the next one that I'm gonna pick up from her is Ready or Not, because I know that that book is also unexpectedly good for other people. That one has an unplanned pregnancy trope, which not a lot of people really like, but people who don't like that trope read that book and still think the book is great. So I cannot wait to read that one. I might read it maybe in the springtime, because if you see the cover, it screams spring for me. Alright, we are on the last book that I read in March, and I decided to pick up Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q Sutanto. She is a Chinese-Indonesian author who is based in Indonesia, and I have, I think, a few of her books. I do have all of the books in this series. I wasn't really sure what this book genre would be because it's not really a thriller, it's not really a mystery either. So let me know if you know what is the classification of this book. Anyways, this book starts really interesting, and I think it also ends really unexpectedly good for me. Most of the book actually take place on a day of this wedding, and I know for a fact that I don't like a book where the setting is just in one day or in one place or a time loop. I just don't like it. But for some reason, this book I do love and enjoyed so much. I think it's because there's just a lot of things that are happening throughout the book, and also the main character is Chinese Indonesian. She was born in America, and then there's her mom and her three aunties in this book that is just very typical Chinese Indonesian like women and aunties that are meddling a lot and just always, you know, telling you that, oh, you did this wrong, let me do this, or let me show you how to do it right. And there's just so many events that are happening throughout this book that happens in this one day, and it wasn't boring to me. That's why I love it. When I first realized that this book happened in just one day, well, most of the book anyway, I was worried that I wouldn't like it, but it ends up being really fun, really silly book that I really did enjoy. So I'm hoping that the second and the third book would have similar vibe. I think the second book rated lower than this one according to Goodreads, but let's see. I will definitely still read and continue on with the series because I'm just curious what the ending of the series would be. Anyways, those are all of the 7 books that I read in March. Let me know in the comment below which one you have read before and which one you will add into your TBR.